Hey there, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ethan Lowry. I'm a wedding photographer based in Auckland, New Zealand. And today we're going to talk about the new Fujifilm X-Half and how I think it's the perfect camera for the too busy working professional and for a lot of other people as well. So before we kick in properly, let's talk about some disclosures. As some of you may know, I've been working with Fujifilm New Zealand for the last 12 or so months on various projects. Today's discussion about the new X-Half is totally separate to all of that. No money's changed hands today. I just reached out to Fujifilm a few weeks back, asked if they had anything that I could do some videos on, and they presented this opportunity for me. So I borrowed the camera for about a week and have returned it. I've borrowed it again today to do a little bit of B-roll filming, and that's about it. So let's kick in. But before we talk about the X-Half, let's take a little step back and just understand what this half means. So, this is the Kodak Ektar H35. This is a cheap film point-and-shoot half-frame camera that I've had for a number of years now. I have shot quite a few rolls through it. There's even a roll in here now, probably from a year or so ago that I just haven't finished off. It's an awesome everyday snapshot camera. Very nostalgic feeling, great for chucking in your car's glove box just to have something on the go, or bring on a family vacation. Here are a bunch of photos that I took on a family vacation when my parents visited from the States a couple years ago. So I mentioned half frame. What does it really mean? If you're already familiar with this concept, you could probably skip forward 30 seconds or so. But if you're not familiar with the concept of half frame, I'll just do a little run through now. So what you're seeing here is a traditional 35mm frame. Each frame gets exposed with a single image. You advance the film, take another image, advance the film all the way through your roll. Now, a half frame takes that concept and literally just cuts it in half. So rather than a landscape format, what you get is two vertical formats per 35mm frame. And then when you get these developed and scanned, they can be scanned as a full frame, where you get two images locked up in the same frame, but I like to get them scanned separately. And now that we've got this out of the way, let's talk about this. This is the new X-Half. As you can tell, the camera is absolutely tiny. It's no bigger in nearly any dimension to this little Kodak half-frame camera, which is already super small, very pocketable. When talking about or considering an everyday camera, pocketability is, to be honest, one of the biggest factors for me. I have had a few generations of the X100 family over the years, and while I love the camera and I love the concept of it, they were never quite small enough for me to justify keeping in my bag, because I just wouldn't use them enough. To me, if I'm going to bring the X100 6 and I can't fit it in my pocket, I may as well bring an X-T5 with a couple of different lens options, or even my GFX 100 Mark II. It's not a massive camera. It is bigger, of course, but with that size comes awesome image quality. However, this is a truly pocketable camera, which has me really, really excited. There are going to be so many really good, comprehensive tech spec and feature-rich videos launching today all about this camera. I encourage you to go watch those. This will not be a comprehensive review. This will not be a technical rundown on what this camera can do. These are the thoughts of a working professional who has been looking for an everyday pocketable camera for years and has never found the right one. Now, when I had this loan a few weeks ago, it was a pretty busy time in our house. A few of us were sick. My son had his 5th birthday party. He started school. There wasn't a whole lot of opportunity or a whole lot of preparation I could take. There wasn't anywhere I could really go with this. You've seen a few snaps at the beginning of us at an airport. We did a quick day trip down to Wellington to attend an award ceremony down there as a family. And what I'll be showing throughout the rest of this video are a few photos and videos that I snapped on my boy's first walk to school. So nothing super technical, nothing overly interesting, but a great example of what I would use this for on a day-to-day basis. So I said we wouldn't get too technical today, and I promise we won't. I don't know the ins and outs of it very well, and I don't want to fumble my way through it, but I'll cover the basics here. So this camera comes equipped with a portrait orientation or vertical orientation 20 megapixel 1-inch sensor. Functionally it's just about, not exactly, don't have to correct me, but it's just about half of an APS-C frame vertically oriented, as we saw before. And what that means is that every single photo you take like this is going to come out portrait orientation rather than landscape orientation. The lens on here is a 10.8 millimeter f2.8 lens, which means you have plenty of light gathering at 2.8, and at 10.8 mils you're quite wide, but obviously you're cropped in quite a lot. So you have the APS-C crop factor to deal with, and then you cropped in again. So I have no idea what the equivalent focal length of this is. It's nice and wide. It's a perfect candid camera. In addition to the new vertically oriented sensor, we do have a new window on the back of this camera. I'm not sure if you can see it. There we go. So this little window is actually a screen. You just swipe through your film simulations, and in live, your image is going to change. How cool is that? A final note to make from the tech spec side is that this camera only shoots JPEG. There's no RAW recording. So what you shoot in camera is exactly what you're going to get in the end when you pop it on your computer or transfer it to your phone or whatever. Get your white balance right, get your exposure right, and dial in your film simulation, and you'll be happy. The way I've been using this camera, I've dialed in Fuji Classic Chrome on the back screen, popped it in aperture priority, and I've just used this top dial here to toggle brightness up or down, point shoot, that's it. Completely seamless, super easy, autofocus is fine. It's exactly what you'd want out of a casual point and shoot. Build quality wise, we're pretty good. This is obviously likely to be the cheapest camera that they are marketing at the moment. I don't know what the final retail price will be, but I'm imagining it's going to sit under the XM5. I could be wrong. But considering that, I think the build quality is fine. It does feel a little bit plasticky, but because of its small size, it feels dense enough. It's not a super light toy, despite how I'm holding it and kind of waving it around. But yeah, I think generally everything here I'm looking at and feeling is made of plastic rather than metal. Even the top plate is a silverized plastic. This camera is capable of photo and video with a simple toggle. So you see right up here, there's a photo video button that slides back and forth. And as you can see on the screen, as I'm toggling that, it's pretty seamless. So this camera is capable of shooting 2 images stacked side by side, 2 videos stacked side by side, a photo and a video stacked side by side, baked into the same file, which is pretty cool. So all you have to do for that is choose whether you're doing stills or video, snap your first shot, crank the winder here. That will advance you to the next half frame within your frame. Then snap your second shot and let the camera do its processing, and it'll bake it into the same file. So with all of that stuff out of the way, let's talk about image quality. Everything that I've snapped with this and that you've seen in this video today are edited JPEGs that I took into Lightroom, bumped some contrast, bumped some saturation, left it at that, exported, done. You certainly don't need to, and I think the point of this camera is that you shouldn't have to, or you shouldn't want to. I just happen to love an extra bit of contrast and an extra bit of saturation that I may have just been able to get in camera anyway, but I didn't set things up super well, or I didn't take a whole lot of time to get to know the menu system, so I didn't. Overall, I'm quite happy with the image quality, especially considering the use case. If this were my everyday personal camera, I'd be pretty stoked. You can transfer them directly to your phone, pop them on your computer, send them to friends and family, and they'll be sweet. Of course, you have the ability to bring things into Lightroom. It's just you're editing JPEGs, so you can only do so much. That said, the files still have plenty of flexibility. It's just not what you'd be used to editing a RAW file. So one thing that I really love about the X-Half is the concept of nostalgic images made easy. This isn't a proper tagline or anything like that, it's just something that I've kind of had in my head, whereby this gives you what this does, but you don't have to buy film, you don't have to shoot through a whole roll before you develop it, you don't have to take it out to get developed, you don't have to rely on the person developing or scanning it to scan it a proper way. You just point, shoot, transfer the images off, and edit them if you want to, but you certainly don't have to. It's just so much easier, so much more convenient. And yes, film will probably always have a nostalgic edge, but for a busy professional, this is going to win every single time. I don't want my personal photos to feel like work, and this doesn't feel like work. So beyond just being a personal camera for professionals, I think this could be an awesome camera for a much younger audience. I'm thinking this is the ultimate camera to take to festivals, to go on your European holiday, to pop over to your friend's house 2 blocks away. Anything that's more casual that disconnects you from using your phone to take photos. So size-wise, we're a lot smaller here, a bit chunkier in this direction, but you could functionally pop this in your pocket, leave your phone behind if you don't critically need it, and fully disconnect from being on your phone all the time, which I think is great these days. It's not often that you get to do that. So I'm really big on numbers. I really love looking at cost analyses for certain things. So I ran some mental math based on New Zealand film development prices, just to see how I might be able to justify buying one of these versus continuing to use this. So at the time of purchase, I believe this camera was $100. I think they're a little bit more expensive now, especially with the newer versions with proper glass lenses inside. So let's consider $100 sunk cost here, and then every roll of film, let's say Kodak Gold 200, is going to run you about $30 New Zealand, and then you're looking at about another $20–25 for development and scanning. I don't know what the price of this will be at launch. I'm imagining it's going to be less than the XM5, which currently sits around $1,600. So hypothetically, we'll sit it at $1,000. So let's crunch some numbers then. If this is $100 and it costs $50 per roll of film, and this is hypothetically $1,000, give or take, you'll break even between the two after 18 rolls of film, which in the long run is not a whole lot. So that means after shooting 18 rolls of film, this camera has already paid itself off. So I think that pretty much sums it up. Will I get one? Don't tell my wife. Yes. She won't be watching this video, so I can comfortably say it here. Don't you go and tell her. But we have a big trip planned to the States later this year, and I think this is the perfect camera for it. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you'd like to see the files, just let me know in the comments. I'll set up a Dropbox link, I'll post it, and you guys can go ahead and download it and pixel peep, have a look, have a play with them, and see what you think. That's it from me till next time. Thank you very much for watching. See you.